Welcome to the business webinar program presented by Bank of America. Today's session is assortment planning for your brick and mortar store, and we will learn the art and science of choosing which products to put in your store and where, how to really understand your sales metrics, and how to use those metrics to make decisions that really grow profits. I'm Molly Heffernan, Vice President of Marketing for the Tory Burch Foundation, and I am so excited to be here with a speaker that is obsessed with retail. Ami Rabheru is a former retail buyer, founder of Retail Huddle, a consultancy for product brands where creativity meets retail strategy, and success is a collaborative journey. Ami is going to share a fantastic presentation. We will have plenty of time for Q&A, so be sure to use the Q&A box for questions. We're going to do our best to get to as many as possible and use that chat for the good, fun community building. Take notes, and today's session will be recorded, so please watch your inboxes for the replay link. And with that, Ami, I'm going to hand it over to you to teach us everything there is to know.
Amazing. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. And actually, before I kick off, thank you again, Tory Burch Foundation, Bank of America, for having me. I absolutely love doing these things. And I really hope that our time together today, I will be empowering you with exactly what Molly said, assortment planning, how to use your metrics, and how to get the art and science of getting a commercial, well-balanced range for your customers. I'm really excited. So look, carry on with the chat. It's very exciting to see all of that. And so I know what level of experience you're all at. It would be wonderful actually to know what you are hoping to get out of our time together today. Do you currently do any level of assortment planning? Are you new to assortment planning? Have you dabbled in it, and now are you here because you want to learn some solid strategies, how to do it properly? Or are you a complete veteran at this and just here for the tips? And maybe you can teach me a thing or two, but great to have you, and wonderful to share knowledge and experience together. So thank you all for being here. I'm really excited. Right, with that, I'm going to share my slides. And I can see lots and lots of amazing chat. I will get through all of those. Let me just share the screen. Try not to have any hiccups with tech today. Can you all see that? Yep, I'm sure. Right, lovely. So Molly's already introduced me so wonderfully. I'm Ami, founder of Retail Huddle. It is a retail business consultancy for independent founder-led brands. And Molly was exactly right. It's where creativity meets retail strategy, because in retail needs to be loved. We need the creativity, but we also need the science behind it. What I do today kind of came about because I've spent 20 years in the world of retail buying. I'll keep this short, don't worry. Some of the retailers that I've worked for, I've name dropped here. You may recognize them: M&S, TESCO, Next, all in the UK High Street. You've probably already figured that out from my accent, that I'm from the UK. Yeah, I spent 20 years of my career buying for some of these big retailers, and that's why I kind of love doing what I do now. And apart from the consulting side, well, I also conduct workshops and training a bit like this, and I'm also on the panel. You can see some of the things I've name dropped there, for well-known trade shows like Top Draw London, Home and Gift. I'm also a trusted mentor on the panel for Virgin Startup, for Enterprise Nation. And I've also just recently updated this slide, actually, because I put Netflix on there. You can probably see that. I'm kind of a bit shy and a bit embarrassed to admit and say this, actually, because it's all a bit surreal to me. And it's so weird, but I appeared on a documentary about consumer retail, and talking about the grocery market in the UK, and it was for Channel 5 originally, and it's just made it on Netflix. So that's my sort of surreal moment, and it's so weird watching myself back. My dog also gets very confused, but yeah, that was my little moment of fame. I thought I'd mention that. So I also run a really lovely retail huddle community, which you're absolutely welcome to join. It's just right at the end, retailhuddle.club, a great place to mingle with fellow product businesses, mainly in the UK actually, but it's all good, isn't it? Look, let's get on with assortment planning. So what is product assortment planning, or range planning, or merchandise mix planning, however you know it? Well, basically it's the science behind the art of curating and presenting your products in a retail store or in any retail distribution channel. It aims to ensure that the right mix of products is available to meet customer needs, drive your sales, and optimize the use of your retail space. Space is everything. It's a big metric in retail. It's something that we measure all the time. How hard is your space working? How hard is it working for you? How much sales are you getting from it? But it's not everything. We talk about experience in retail as well. We talk about white space and engaging customers in your space as well. But essentially, what we're going to be talking about today is how we're optimizing the use of your retail space. Basically, the stuff that you buy, you've got to sell it for a profit. That's retail. And this, what I'm going to teach you today is the science behind getting it right. So hopefully I can inspire you with some of that with our time today. Right. So what should a retail buyer be doing? So along with the art of curating a product range, because creativity is absolutely a must, you must balance the science, and it's important to be just as creative but highly commercial, forward thinking, and your job as a buyer for your store is to create a balanced, cohesive offer for your customers. The art, this is the product offering something, you know, or is it new? Is it range duplication? It's got to be creative but highly commercial. How does it fit into your range? Does it appeal to my ideal customers? Is it a growing trend? Is it something that you've looked at? Is it data driven? And then the science bit is really about, will this help me meet my KPIs? Will it be incremental sales? Will it meet my margin targets? Will it grow my market share? Does it somehow enhance my product category or product mix, that it means that actually it will mean that I will stand out in a crowded marketplace and I will, you know, look better or different to my competition? So those are the kind of things that we must look at when we're looking at the science part. This will be familiar to most of you, hopefully, the 4 Ps. Your job as a retail buyer for your store is to deliver the right mix of products at the right price, in the right place, and at the right time with the right promotion for your customers. This is product assortment planning. A great product assortment strategy not only captivates your customers, it enables you to stand out in a crowded marketplace, but it also aligns with your overall trading strategy. And remain profitable, reduce your inventory, remain resilient, remain relevant through tough times, and strong through the ever-evolving landscape. And actually, to explain this, I just want you to think about when you walk into your favorite store and you don't need to buy anything, but something you've seen has resonated with you and it's made you want to buy it. And that thing that we don't need suddenly becomes something that we absolutely must have. And it's that thing, whatever it is, that feel that we get that leads us to the point of conversion. We've all done that, right? We've all walked into a store, we've all don't need anything, but we've seen something that's resonated with us and we absolutely must have it. Tell me we've all done that, because I know I have many, many times. Well, when you walk into your favorite store, unknowingly, you are being told what to buy from them. Their range curation, their product assortment, their statement planning, how they present their ranges in store. It's telling you what to buy from them. It's very, very clever. It's very clever product assortment strategies. The impact of the range, the way it's been displayed, the marketing messages, it all triggers an emotional desire to make you buy the thing that they want you to buy. And if you look at their choice, it's enough choice, but not too much choice that it's overwhelming the customer, but just enough choice that the customer feels they have a choice. And that's the key. That's the key. That's where you need to get your ranges to. We don't want to look too overcrowded. Otherwise, you get browsers, not buyers. They get confused. They love looking at everything. You know, they'll look at everything. They'll tell you how wonderful your range looks, but if it's overwhelming them, they'll walk out with nothing. And just in terms of who your customer is, and your only job is to give the customers more of what they want. And your customer is quite simply the one person who is willing and able to buy from you. And you're an independent store, so you don't need a department store strategy. You don't need a wide product assortment. You don't need to. It's way more powerful when you become known for the one thing and you do it really great. And I don't mean one product. You don't need to sell one product. You need to sell a range of products, but it's really important that you become one thing. And some of this will be driven through looking at your data and looking at market trends and really understanding your customers. Your product should excite customers. It shouldn't be boring. So too much data-driven strategy is, you know, can make a boring range. But this is the excitement of range building, and the benefits, of course, of getting it right. Well, it gives you a competitive advantage in a crowded marketplace. You know, when you do proper assortment planning, you'll identify patterns, you'll identify behaviors, and you'll tune in to what your customers really want from you. And being known for something is the most powerful way to remain relevant and build brand equity. All of this leads to clarity, doesn't overwhelm your customers, leads to conversions, less overwhelm, and less dead stock for you as well to manage as a business owner. And most importantly, it allows you to put your buying budget in the right product, because as your business grows, you need to make sure that your money's in the right place. So yeah, just to take you through this. So I just want to take you through this because assortment planning doesn't happen in isolation, but it forms an important part of the retail buying cycle of strategy, plan, buy, move, trade, and learn. It's a constant cycle. And it's not even something that happens once a season, but it's something that should happen continuously in your business. And this is because you are constantly bringing in different lines. You'll be trading the range through the season. So you'll be exiting old lines or seasonal lines. You'll be replacing bestsellers in season. You'll be considering product life cycles. You might have a phasing plan. It might be that you've got product that has specific shelf life. So that's something that needs to be managed as well through the buying cycle. You'll be keeping track of traction in your store and frequency of visiting customers. And frequency is a really important element of phasing your buys and planning your assortments. So assortment planning is a constant cycle in your business, and it's not something that just happens once a season. Having methodologies and processes in your business, like the ones I'm going to share with you today, to help you manage your business is really, really crucial. And I'll be taking you through some simple ways to get started. Like I said, if this is new to you, and I'll be showing you some advanced methods as well if you are ready to get more geeky. So hopefully this session will appeal to all levels. Right, with that, product. So we already mentioned your product should give the customer just enough options so they feel like they have a choice, but not too many options that they feel overwhelmed by the choice and turn into browsers instead of buyers. Remember the walking into your favorite store analogy. They practically tell you what to buy. They give you enough choice, but not too much. They manage seasonality really well. They've got the core items, which are the sales drivers for them. And really, it's the balancing act. Only you know your customer, and only you know your store really, really well. So that sort of balancing act of how much you invest between core lines and seasonal lines is the science bit also of sales planning. And actually that brings me on to, you may have heard of the 80-20 rule. And really what that means is that 80% of your sales tend to come from 20% of your product assortment. So in retail, we do everything that we can to protect our top 20%. So we build strategies around every, plan A, plan B, plan C. So if a particular product in that top 20% becomes unavailable, or the sales, even if the sales slow down, that's a threat, because you're not selling as much as you used to. Maybe the customers got bored of it. So we will have things like, you'll always have a tested and a trial product waiting in the wings, and be able to launch it when you need it. Now, just to caveat that a little bit, in my experience, the 80-20 rule absolutely is correct for larger retailers, but with independent retailers I work with, so this is so you don't get worried, it can sometimes look like 70-30. I've even seen it at 60-40. So don't panic when I say 80-20 rule. And when you look at your sales, it doesn't quite present 80-20. It is okay if it's something else. The important thing here is that you absolutely recognize it, and that it enables you to build a picture of what your customers are coming to you for, which then helps to drive out your retail strategy, your trade-in plan, which then drives out your marketing strategy, which then drives out your social media content strategy, and it probably even drives the color you paint your walls. Hopefully you get my drift. Once you have that clarity in your business, everything becomes crystal clear. So what are the key components of a great product assortment? Customer centricity. I will keep using the word I probably will use the word customer in every slide, because that is the key. It is so important to understand what your customer wants, what they're buying from you, their behaviors. Look at customer segmentation, the variety that you offer. The price architecture should cater to the different segments of your market. Ensure that there is enough choices across the product mix so that your customer can easily trade up and down the range without range duplication. The breadth, of course, is the variety of the category mix that offers the different types of products, given a diverse choice. So this will be your different category levels, creating choice across your range and creating impact, and allowing the customer, again, to shop the assortment in a way that they have choice. Variety is the variations or the options available within each product category. So this includes different sizes, colors, styles, brands, models, just to give you enough choice without overwhelming your customer. Now, it's your choice, depending on your store, depending on your market, depending on your business model, whether you choose that breadth is way more important than depth, or depth is way more important than breadth. Most independent retailers I work with, we are often culling the range to make it narrower and to simplify things, because I always believe that when you simplify, you can amplify. And what we don't want is a confusing range, but we do want choice. So it's just about balancing it, but it depends on your business whether you grow your business with breadth or you grow your business with depth. Seasonal mix, this is the exciting thing, right? So this is the right product mixes, the tactics to curate and create impactful, powerful displays which sells. So your seasonal mix, the way I teach it on my, is that you usually have 3 seasonal mixes. You will just categorize it by 3 elements. It's core. So your core is your sales drivers, your money drivers, the things that you sell in either value or volume. And it's the things that your customer loves. Okay, it's the thing that they keep coming back to you for. What's that product? Have you identified it? You've got a lovely workbook in here, by the way, which will help you to identify and really think about what your customers really want from you. And then the second one is trend. So this is the sort of, I call it the fluff around the outside, but actually it's really important to have that trend, because those trend pieces are the things that you will have in your window display. They'll be your press pieces. They'll be the thing that drives customers in. But this is, a lot of this will more than likely be the 80% of your range, 80% of your product range. but it's such an important element to have in your business. But this is where we get scientific, and this is where we say, right, well, we need that range, but we don't need too much of it. We just need enough to excite the customer, to drive engagement, to be a press piece, whatever it is that you're doing with it. And then, of course, we have promo. And it's when I say promo, I do mean markdown. I do mean the stuff that needs to go into sale. And in retail, we actually, believe it or not, plan promo, because we never buy 100 units to sell 100 units. You'll always buy a bit more, and what that bit more looks like in your business will be different for everybody. But the idea is that you never ignore the promo or the markdown lines, because essentially they've got to sit in your store. You've still got to sell through some of that stuff. You can't just ignore it. You can't start a new season and ignore it. So it's really important to plan promo. Again, that helps with your inventory management. It really helps you to manage your budget as well, because I think sometimes at the beginning of the season we think, oh, right, I've got to buy a whole new range for my whole store. But it's not always the case. You can build in your promo lines into your new season's ranges, and you can do that in quite clever ways as well, so that it may not look like promo to your customer, but it means that you can still sell through that product and make a profit. And so when you're planning your seasonal mix, don't get too complicated, because this is the top layer. It's core, trend, and promo. 3 things: core, trend, and promo. That's how you want to segment your range, and then we'll work down from that, creating a hierarchy chart. Okay, so the hierarchy chart, in case what I'm talking about is alien. Where's my chart? Surely my chart. Can you see the chart?
We can't see the chart.
You can't see the chart? Oh my goodness. Oh, right, bear with me. It's there, but I may just have to reduce my screen size.
Okay.
Because it's not liking it. So sorry, you'll see some stuff around the outside now, but it's there.
We love the suspense for a good chart.
I'm really sorry. So this is a hierarchy chart. So look, this is, sorry, I've had to make it smaller because it doesn't like it when I'm doing it large. It's sending it away. But right, okay, so and now I've frozen.
But we can see the chart.
Chart. And now I've frozen. Okay, so here I've pre-built a fake range so that I can show you and demonstrate to you what it looks like when you start categorizing products, start putting them into categories, and start applying a little bit of science behind what you're buying. So as explained in the previous slide, your product breadth, you can see that across. That's your variety of product categories that you offer. Your depth is what you see going down. That's the variety in each of those categories and subcategories. And the depth refers to the number of variations of one product. So for example, if you look at this, for example, so say that's your category. So this is a ladies wear category. So if this was a department store, the ladies wear category would be one of men. There'll be a menswear, there'll be a children's wear, there'll be a home and gift, there'll be, so this is one category. And this may be your whole store, because you're an independent retailer, you're not, a big store. Then your subcategory from the ladies wear will be outerwear, skirts, pants, tops, for example. So if we look at the skirts category, underneath skirts, because say it's on trend this season, I've put 2 additional subcategories there. So and then what I've done underneath that is then started deciding what that looks like. So for example, I've got a flared skirt in 2 colors. That would be 2 options. I've got a printed skirt in 4, so that would be 4 options. Okay, and then don't forget, when you've got sizes to deal with as well, however many sizes becomes your SKUs. So basically, if you want to get really geeky, your product breadth times your product depth becomes your number of SKUs. So you've got to add how many colors you're also going to put that in as well. But for here, I've just kept it top level, otherwise the chart can get a bit crazy. But I'm going to show you on a range plan how you can deal with that. So here I've decided that my outerwear is going to be 20% of my mix, and I probably looked at data, previous data, to tell me that that's how it sold last year. My skirts are 30% of my mix, and that gives me 15 options. My pants are 20% of the mix, that gives me 10 options, and my tops are 30% of the mix, and that gives me 15 options. Already it's just giving you a shopping list. That's all it's doing. You're literally creating a shopping list for yourself, so you don't end up overbuying, and you create that shopping list from your previous data, from current trends, future trends, and it's really important not just to look at your previous season's data, particularly in fashion, because fashion changes. And if it's not a skirt season next year, but you've sold lots of skirts, but next year it's all about maxi dresses, well, you need to take that into account, and that's the art. So that's where you need to just go through your gut feeling, your trend research, your the ideas. So this is a framework that shows you how to create a shopping list, essentially. And mapping your framework like this in a hierarchy before you go out and buy is a really great first step to keeping you on track. And it really gets you thinking about the categories and the products you need to invest in. And just having a shopping list like this will make you think about, well, how much money do I want to invest in this option or that option? Do I really need 4 colors in this? Do I feel really strongly about that I want to actually go and purchase 2 or 4 prints in this? Or can I use that option somewhere else because I feel really strongly that it's going to be a pants season, or it's going to be something, or I need to buy more tops because last year I overperformed on tops. So it's really important just to keep looking at your data, but also keep forward trends in mind as well. So the example that I've shown you here, it's just one range, but what I want to do is take this section here, the outerwear, and go deeper still. So if we take a closer look at the outerwear category, I've decided that I'm going to split those 10 options across 5 different styles. And please don't judge me here. I only had Canva graphics to work with, so this is not really very fashionable at all. But it is really there just to demonstrate to you that it's so impactful when you look at a range visually, and whether you are mocking it up with sample swatches or pictures that you've had from your supplier and you're mapping it out on boards. However you're doing it, whether you've got samples and you're actually doing it on the shop floor, that's the best way of doing it, really. If you do it on your shop floor, it's way more powerful. But however you do it, mapping out your products, deciding where they're going to sit, deciding how they look together, deciding how they're displayed, is super powerful, because you immediately see the impact of the range. You can visually assess what it looks like to the customer. You can see the impact. You can identify overlap as well. So when I say overlap, you may have heard of the term cannibalization or splitting sales in retail. And really what that means is you don't want 2 products that could do a similar job for the customer. You want to give them the choice. You want to get them to trade up. You want them to bundle. You want them to buy more. Those are the sorts of things that, when we plan our retail strategies, we look at, that, well, how can we get the customer to buy more? How can we get them to trade up? And if you've got items that are split in sales, they're doing a very, very similar job, and it's always going to be either or, then that's what we call split in sales. The other thing that obviously when you lay out your range and you see it visually, is you can identify gaps and opportunities that you may have missed from either your trend or your competitor research. Even looking at the store layout, when is it still right for next season's range? How are you using your fixtures and fittings? And how do they work in your store? So there's so many different ways of cutting this range. And here I've just shown you a little bit of how, which way I've cut this range. So first of all, I've looked at the category mix. So I've already mentioned to you on the previous slide that this is my category mix. I then split my I also then attribute good, better, best, because that's important, because you always want to know that you've not just got choice in product, but you've got choice in price as well. And you'll know how sensitive or not sensitive your own customer is. So building attributes with pricing is again, it's a very important part of assortment planning. And I've decided that my sales mix is going to be good at 30%, better at 50%, because I'm a mid-range retailer, and my best, which is my top level product, my highest price product, at 20%. I then look at my margins, I look at my average selling price. Average selling price is a key metric to working out your cost, working out your quantities. So that's something to look at as well. And then of course you look at not just your units, but also your financials as well. And actually they both work in tandem with each other. You can't have one without the other. You've got to look at what both are doing in order to plan your ranges, plan how much you're going to buy, not just in money, but also in volume as well, because you can see different patterns through the season, and you'll know that pattern with you know, the price rises, inflation, prices have gone up, and maybe your volumes have dropped. That's what we're seeing in a lot of retailers right now, and they're starting to level out now, but you will have been through a period where your prices have gone up, but actually your sales volume has gone down. Now that will tell you, you know, your customer is liking a certain price point, so you might need to bring your average selling price back down to that price point. So this is the sort of a range planning tool that I just wanted to show you. It's an automated range plan, which in any retail business is practically your range plan. It's practically your Bible. And working in this way and inputting all of your buys into the range plan should keep you on track. Let me just demonstrate it for you. Let me just get the Excel spreadsheet up. So here I have literally just plotted out. I'm going to enlarge it because I bet you can't see. I wonder if that's better. So I've literally plotted out the outerwear range that I've just shown you the slide of, so you can see what I've done. So this is your option count, literally just counts. It shows you up there, you know, we've got 14 lines. Actually, I had 15 lines, didn't I? So I've made a mistake somewhere. And then we just pop what date it started selling from, okay? Not the date that it arrived in your warehouse, but the date you put it on your shop floor and the date you put it on sale. Now, that's a really important thing to track things like your sell-through rates, because what you want to start understanding in your business as well is how much you're selling through in a certain period of time. And that again helps you to manage your budgets, manage your stocks. You don't want to buy too much in advance because you're investing so much money, and you want to manage your cash flow. Cash flow is absolutely king in your business. And then you can put your supplier. So here I've just put a bunch of suppliers here. You can put your supplier reference numbers, country of origin if it comes from somewhere else, your line code. This is how you identify it. So you can call it your SKU code, SKU, stock keeping units, your description. And here's where it gets really interesting. So this is where you start putting your attributes, and every business is different. So what I'm showing you here today is just something that I've built as a generic, just something to demonstrate to you. But this can look different in any business, you know, in every business it will look different. So here you put your season. So say I'm building the spring range. So for example, this hooded rain jacket, the one that you saw in 3 colors at the top, I've decided that I want it in Q1 spring. I also want it in, it's a carryover line. Say I launched it in autumn, I launched it in winter, and then I've carried it over to spring. But actually by summer it's too hot for a raincoat like that, so I want to put it on promo. So this is telling me I want to, at this point, mark this down. And I've planned for it because I think that I'll probably have some leftover stock to sell. Now, if I don't, then, well, we need a plan B. You'll need to fill that space. But essentially what you should be doing is planning to have that, just so you've got space. And whether it goes on a when it's gone rail or a shelf, it doesn't matter. But the point is we have to plan for the markdown ranges. And then I've sort of gone on to sort of plan and map out where I want to see each thing through the seasons. And it's important to consider the whole year. because, like I said, you will be, it's a cycle. You'll be exiting lines, you'll be bringing in lines. I've then given it a product type. So I want to look at my sales via product type. So I've given it 2 categories here: jacket, coat, jacket, coat. I then want to also look at colour, because at the end of the season, I want to see what colours have sold well. And this will enable me to do a really quick analysis of the sales if I attribute it like this. I've also decided that I want to look at sizing as well. So, you know, this range plan, you can have literally a size on every line, or you can do it like this, where you put it in like, put it into just bunch it up into a category. I've then decided that I also want to track my good, better, best mix, because that's really important metric to understand what customers are buying from you, where you're selling the most, so whether you're selling good, better or best. And I'll show you a chart in a minute to explain that further. We've also got all of the metrics that relate to cost, units, duty, taxes, everything that we all have to pay in addition to. So, for example, if your product range was coming from abroad, you can put the currency that you're buying it in, and also you can apply the exchange rate as well. So everything that you see in yellow are calculations. So we never touch the yellow. Whenever I create a range plan for my clients, we always say we never touch the yellow, but we always input everything that we need to put in white. And this, I mean, and the beauty of this is that it calculates it at the top. These filters, you know, you can then do VLOOKUPs and then create smart charts for yourself, so that you can quickly analyze what your range is looking like, and quickly analyze where you are trading against your buys, and essentially how you need to plan the following year. So I hope that makes sense. So when you're range planning, the other thing that you also need to look at as well is, you know, some of these questions that you need to answer for your ideal client. So these are just some of the questions that we've been going through, so I won't repeat myself, but there's a lovely sheet here in the presentation, which, you know, when you are going through your presentation, you can ask yourself these questions. And it's really about, you know, will these products delight my customers? Do they meet my KPIs? Does it align with the values and sustainability goals that you promote as a business? Does it offer something different, or is it splitting sales? All of these questions are going to be really, really important. Okay, planning. I'm not going to go through this too much, but I just wanted to sort of whiz through it, because you've got a very comprehensive booklet that we've given you that will take you through exactly how to, I suppose, the foundations of building a range. So this is the very foundations of setting your goal for the season. So we're in June now. So depending on how far in advance you buy, you might be getting ready for your Christmas. So this document, this workbook that I'm giving you, will be very, very useful in, well, planning your biggest season. Essentially, it's your peak selling period, and retailers can take anywhere between 40 and 60% of their annual revenue. So it really does pay to do this properly, and I really hope the workbook and these sort of planning guidelines will help you to set some really good foundations, so that you can go into your Christmas range buying that very, very confidently. So, you know, the first thing that you need to look at is look back. You know, all the things that we're talking about. So evaluating your sales performance, doing a SWOT analysis, you know, good old-fashioned SWOT analysis, just capturing lessons learned can be really powerful. Sales analysis, insights and market trends, again, you know, being able to look at what's going on. And these are some of the key metrics that you need to look at for a successful product assortment. Sales value, sales volume, sales per square foot, basket spend, stock turnover rates, sell-throughs, which I mentioned, you know, really good to keep track of how long it's taking you to sell through product lines, We'll obviously look at all of your financials like average selling price, profit margins, and also your good, better, best mix as well. Your customer segmentation, your satisfaction, looking at things like return rates, customer reviews, customer loyalty, the frequency, if you track footfall in your store, and then we look now. So that's very much about looking at the market now. What do you see outside? Step out of your bubble, step out of the bubble of your business founder's shoes and step into the shoes of your customer. What else are they seeing? What are they doing? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What can they see? What can you see through your customer's eyes? What is driving, what you want to get down to here is you want to understand what's driving their purchasing decisions. So if down the road in the same high street as you've got similar product at different prices, you know, and they're showing their value much better than you are, then you'll want to question how you are talking about your value to your customers. Okay, this was just a little price architecture. So we've already talked about price architecture, but I just wanted to show you this visually because I always feel like it's better to see things visually. Good, better, best can mean different things to different retailers. So if you're a value or a mid-range retailer, your range might look like this. So the majority of your product might be good in terms of price architecture, then going up to better, best, and you may have very few luxury items in your range. Now that percentage can be different to different businesses. If you're a luxury retailer, well, that's very obvious. The pyramid is likely to turn upside down. You're likely to have a large assortment of luxury product price ranges, a little bit of best, and a little bit of entry price point at the better. And if you're a mid-range retailer, well, then better might be the majority of your price architecture. It's different in every retailer, but it's a really good thing to keep track of and understand. Again, you can do this in the range planning tool as well. Okay, so place in the market. We talked about who your target market is and what your place and your positioning in that market is. So your brand position, your ideal customers, just keep track on all of that. The retail market is evolving so rapidly that your position in the retail market will also change as rapidly as the market is evolving. So in this section, I'm just going to talk about place as in your place in store. So we're going to be talking a little bit about product placement strategies in store and the act of strategically positioning products in the store to create a well-balanced range, that impactful range I talked about when you walk into your favorite retailer and something just hits you and you want to buy everything. You know, and when we're too close to our businesses, sometimes we can't see the wood for the trees. So the first thing I want you to do is just step out of the bubble of the day-to-day running of your shop and step into the shoes of your customer and just walk your store exactly how your customer navigates it. Stand back and just take it all in. What do you immediately feel? When you walk in, what does the store ambience and the layout make you feel? Customers buy with emotion. So the first thing they need when they interact with your brand is a feeling, and you need to get that feeling across when they walk into your store. If it's a cluttered store with too many options, how are they going to feel? You know, what is triggering emotions for them? What signage are they seeing? What messages are they seeing? Is it really well laid out? Does it look a bit empty? You know, how are they navigating things? Where are they naturally going to? If there's too much to see, too many lovely products, and your eyes are going everywhere, then the customer might feel a bit overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. You know, everything's looking great. Oh, look at that, look at that. But, you know, will they walk out with a product, or will they just be browsers? You know, like a market, when you're in a market, you just get so overwhelmed with everything, don't you? And you know, what we want to do is get them to the point of not just being a browser, but we actually want them to convert. So, you know, when you think about your sales and when you think about your store profitability, there's 4 things that you need to do for your customer. You need to attract, you need to engage, you need to convert, and then you need to repeat that, right? We want them back. We don't just want them to come once, and we don't just want them to you know, come once and then that's it. So really, when you think about your lines, I want you to think about your core lines, and identify the areas in your store that are dedicated to high margin or high traffic items. Are these placed in high visibility locations? Is that where you've placed them, or have you placed them hidden away? I mean, with core lines, you can apply lots of different strategies. Think about your sales drivers by volume. Are frequently purchased items placed in easily accessible areas? How are you merchandising them? Normally, when we look at volume drivers, we normally look at, well, actually the density's got to be quite a lot. There's got to be quite a lot there because it's walking off the shelves. So it's got to give the impression that this is a best-selling product by volume. This will sell out. Think about your best sellers as well. You know, are they always in stock? Are they located in high traffic zones? Think about your hero products, your press pieces. You know, are the stores signature hero products prominently displayed? How are they displayed? How are you talking about them? What messaging is there? Think about impulse buys as well. This is a big part of retail, right? So are they strategically placed? Impulse buy items near checkout areas or along main paths. Think about how you're looking at seasonal lines. Are they grouped together to create impactful displays? Are they telling the customer what, you know, they should be buying from you right now? And also think about your price position as well. Have you considered where to strategically place high and low margin products? So take stock of your, you know, when you're doing this, just take stock of your fixtures, your displays and your layout. Refer back to your data, look at the behavior, look at the buying patterns, and decide which are going to be your high traffic areas, which are going to be premium, which are going to be logical to navigate and optimize your space, which areas will encourage cross-selling opportunities. You know, cross-selling is an important thing. So if you're a homeware store, you might want to sell a cushion with a throw, or you might want to sell a candlestick with some, you know, a mirror. You know, think about all those sorts of things as well. Think about cross-selling opportunities. Tables are usually great. You know, you can create really beautiful lifestyle displays out of that from tables. So, you know, literally, you know, go and measure. That's the next step. Go and measure your fixtures and fittings and map them out on this lovely spreadsheet that I have also given you today. It's called a display planning spreadsheet. I'm just going to zoom in because I know you might not be able to see that. And just map out, so exactly like you would on a floor plan, like a planogram, but this is on a spreadsheet because it helps you work out your units. So think about, you know, wherever this is it a floor, is it a floor table, is it a display wall, is it a back wall? Just map out the areas of your shop that you know, and then just mention all of the fixtures and fittings that are in that space, and then just write down what display type that fixture fitting holds. So is it flat or is it hanging something else? And then just in the quantity, write down literally how many of those items you've got. So here we've got a wall area, we have a small shelf, and I can put flat items on there. I've got 18 of those in my store on this back wall, and they measure 109 centimeters. I think I can fit 8 options of the type of product I buy. Now, this is going to be very much down to, you know, what kind of products you buy, what size they are. So you just have to work out how much you fit on your, that. So these are 8 options. So it's 8 different products. Okay, it's not densities. We get into densities in a minute. This is 8 different products. So, you know, on a 100 centimeter shelf, I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different ranges. And then we decide, you know, whether we want a low density capacity, a medium density capacity, or 8. So per option, this means per option, I'm going to be able to fit 8 units on there. So this is all about units. And if I wanted a low density, if I didn't want to invest in that much stock and I really wanted to be clever about my display, then I might say, do you know what, I'm just going to put 4 on there because my sell-through rates aren't that high. And so that's really what it means. And whatever number you put in here will then help you to calculate how many units you need on that particular shelf. So this is lovely because, it, you know, like I said, everything that's in yellow is all automatically calculated for you. And then everything that's in white, that's where you input your numbers. And then the beauty of this is, you know, so this is per fixture, and then it also calculates it. So this figure is that times that, and that gives you your total unit capacity on 18 shelves. And then if you look down the bottom, that also gives you how many units you're holding in your store. So this is how many units you will need to fill your whole store. So sometimes that's a real eye-opener, actually, when you decide how much you need to fill a store and actually how many units you'll be holding in your store, because essentially your average selling price times that will be the budget that you need to spend on filling your store, just filling it, not even thinking about replenishment. So this is a really good place to start if you've never started. This is also going into your little giveaway. Okay, so that's it's the same thing there. And I'm just going to whiz through the last few slides really quickly. I know I'm running out of time. The key thing here is to make it easy for your customers to buy from you. That's the key thing. And here we talk about impact and desirability of the range. So when you plan in your range, it absolutely needs to align with your target audience, the look, the feel, how your product presents itself in store. So if it's a luxury store, it's going to look, you know, it's going to look finessed, it's going to look clean, it's going to look impactful, it's going to look a bit, you know, a bit limited maybe. And then if it's a mid-range store, well, you're going to have a lot more product in. You know, eye-level game, this is where in the retail industry it's said that eye-level game is, you know, eye-level is buy-level. So put yourself in your customer's shoes and strategically place the goods that you want to sell more of, or the high margin ranges at eye level, and create some interesting displays. Placement of essentials and core lines. Now, we talked about this as being your sales drivers, your core products, the customers that you're, you know, the products that your customers keep coming back to you for. Now, most customers come in looking for these, no matter how far they need to go into the store. They will go inside the shop and look for it. The key thing here is to place strategically higher selling items, interesting items, seasonal lines in that path. So that path that they are taking to go to the back wall. So in a supermarket, it would be, you know, your milk, eggs, bread. I don't know why I'm using a wine wall for this to demonstrate this, but I am. And, you know, to demonstrate that actually it doesn't matter how far they need to go into the store, they will go into the store for the core items. And look at different levels as well, make it interesting. So if you are doing a table display, create different levels of height, you know, create lifestyles, create products. You'll get all of this presentation. So, you know, look at, you know, areas where you can increase profits rather than just sales. We want to be just as profitable as we do sales. And of course, streamline for success. I said that before. Simplify to amplify. Less is usually more, and that just demonstrates how difficult it can be to navigate something. And really, my final piece of advice is, when you're doing this, you step out of the shoes of your business owner and step into the shoes of your customer. That's really where the magic happens. Keep in touch and let's do a bit of a Q&A. Yes. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, and we got so many great questions. I'm going to try and get through a couple before over. So love to hear eye level is buy level and all the different pieces of advice. But Charlotte asked a really interesting question for businesses that have done most of their business during certain holidays or certain seasons. How can they decide when a seasonal winner should become a core item?
I think, well, first and foremost, it's a really good question, actually, because we know more and more we want longevity of our products. We want them to stay over a period of time. And actually, that's a really clever way of thinking about it. And particularly with seasonal products, is if you have a particular seasonal product that you think can have longevity, well, how can you make that happen? So, if you've got a gifting item, can you at Christmas time put a red ribbon on it? And then when it comes to Mother's Day, put a lilac ribbon on it. When it comes to Easter, put a yellow ribbon on it. It's things like that, strategies like that that can make a product last all year round and become a core product. But your customer will recognize it as something that they keep coming back to you and buying. So many strategies that I can think of. You can hamper them, you can bundle them, but they're always there. That core product is always there. And yeah, absolutely. I think the longevity of a product range, the sustainability of not keep replacing and everything going into markdown is a really important consideration. So really good question.
Yeah. And to follow on that, because many of the founders tuning in have both storefronts and e-commerce, what relationship do you need to consider between the physical and the virtual space, and your product assortments across both destinations?
Yeah, I mean, look, firstly, one will drive the other. You can't have one without the other. Both of your distribution channels are just as important. But what I find is that your best sellers in store are hardly ever your best sellers online. So you do need to consider a different strategy for each distribution channel. And I think that's the most powerful way of doing it. So we think that, if you're on Etsy or Amazon, you don't need to put your entire range on there. Just consider the target market, the demographics, who that customer is, and just place a really, cohesive range on that distribution channel. Have everything on your own store online, and then be really selective of what goes in store as well. Again, some of your decisions will be to do with profitability, where you're based. A store in New York won't be the same as your store in Los Angeles, for example. They'll be different. There'll be different customers. There'll be different needs. There'll be different desires. So you absolutely have to treat each distribution channel differently.
Okay, I know we're at two o'clock Eastern for those tuning in, but I'm going to sneak in one more question. We were asked about softwares. So you've shared an incredible amount of resources. Everyone's getting a workbook. They can go back and watch your presentation and slides. But what about when assessing a software to help you with all of your assortment planning and inventory management? What are the things for a small business to assess and consider?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, particularly if you've got different distribution channels, an EPOS system, an ERP system is going to be key. Now, what I find with the ERP systems that we've seen in stores, particularly the ones that independent retailers will want to subscribe to or have access to, is that it's great for the sales data. Absolutely, you can get all your sales data on there. It's not so wonderful for the planning side of things. So when we talk about range planning and building a range and creating yourself a shopping list, I still find it's better done on an Excel sheet. But there are some sophisticated EPOS systems, ERP systems out there. I tend to think that bigger retailers go for them. I'm not sure if the independents go for them, but if you do, let me know. In fact, educate me, tell me what they are. It would be lovely to know.
Sometimes a good old-fashioned Excel is still the way to go, is what I'm hearing.
Just in terms of planning, but actually everything else should be on an ERP system. It absolutely should be. You need to automate things. You absolutely do. Really, really important, because that will then tell you how to put things on the ERP system. That will then enable you to read the sales of how you've planned it and the attributes that you have, planned your ranges with. So really important.
Certainly. Well, I mean, we could go on all day. There are so many things we could learn, but I feel like you've dropped a tremendous amount of knowledge for our community today. And Amy, we're so grateful that you have shared your expertise, your knowledge, and been so generous with your time and workbooks and everything.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. And if there's any more questions, if they go to you and you want to send them to me, I'm absolutely happy to answer them.
Fantastic.